everybody. Oh my goodness, we are so excited to be here. The Simple Dog Solutions Show. My name's Claire.
And my name's Carrie.
And you are in for a roller coaster of a week. We're so excited. Carrie, tell people a little bit more about what it's all about and who we're going to be hearing from today.
Yeah, so we've got some incredible speakers for you all that we've been dying to share with you. Honestly, you've got so much coming to you this week. It is worth diving in every single day and staying with us for the whole week.
Yeah, I'm like, of all the interviews, I don't think there's one where I haven't had a smile across my face and been super excited to share it with you guys as well, because this information is incredibly valuable, whether you're brand new to training or whether you've had a bit of a experience before or you're a very experienced owner. There's going to be something in here for everybody. Carrie, do you want to tell people who we're opening up with today, and then we'll dive into it maybe?
Yeah, so let's get going. Today we have got Tim Jackson, and you are going to love this interview and have so much fun with Tim.
Get your dancing shoes on and vibe up that energy. Let's go and hear what Tim has to say. Welcome, Tim Jackson. How are we doing?
I'm very good. How are you, Claire?
Tip top, mate. Thanks so much for coming on.
It's no bother at all. Always a pleasure, as always.
You're looking very well, actually. You're looking, the lighting's beautiful. Have you been away?
I haven't actually. Well, unless you call Blackpool being away, no, I haven't really done anything exotic really this year. So it's not been. No, I've not been anywhere. It's just been nice sunshine, I guess.
I'd say you've caught the sun well, mate. That's for sure. So do you want to tell people a little bit about who you are, what you do?
Yes. Okay, yes. So my name, obviously, as Claire has said, is Tim. Tim Jackson. I am a veterinary nurse and canine behaviourist. I have, I worked in practice for about 14 years. I built my way up the ladder, became head nurse. And then when I got to kind of the head nurse level, I was like, oh, I'm a bit stuck. I don't know where to go now. So, and I wanted to progress. So behaviour training was always something I was really, really interested in. So the company I worked for put me through a load of courses. I got all the certificates I needed, and then bada bing, bada boom, off I went and did it. Started running some training classes. I kind of did the two alongside. So I did the veterinary work alongside the training work, but then the training kind of took over. So about 7 years ago, I decided to leave practice and focus purely on my business, Pets to Impress. We now have a doggy daycare. We do a lot. We do training, behaviour, puppy classes, all the usual shebang. And I've also got 3 books out as well too, which I published my first one. I'm so far behind with time because of 2020. It's kind of just like taking over what happened. I think my first one came out. I'm sure I published my first book last year. Yeah, I'm sure I did at the beginning of last year, and then everything happened with COVID. And then I bought my second one out last year, and then my third one was bought out this year. That's right.
Christ on a bike. You've written 3 books in a year.
I know, the same men aren't talented, but here we go.
Fire, man, on fire. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your books?
Yeah, so the first book I wrote was on a subject I'm really, really passionate about, something that I work with a lot, and that's dog-to-dog aggression. So it's basically, I guess a very structured way of how to correct dog-to-dog aggression and implement a desensitization program. So dog no longer sees other dog as a major threat. He starts to learn to see them as a positive and associate with something good that's going to follow. So that one's called Help My Dog Is a Devil with Other Dogs. Then, because of the pandemic, I kind of suspected that a lot of dogs would develop separation anxiety with owners working from home, the break in routine, all that jazz. And sure enough, I was right. So when the first during the first lockdown, I wrote my second book, Help My Dog Doesn't Like Being Left Alone. And that was published just as the first lockdown started to lift. And since then, I've been inundated with owners, bless them, that have dogs that have separation, that now have separation anxiety. People are starting to have to go back to work. They're no longer working working from home. So it's a shame. I think it's been tough for us and tough for the dogs as well too, hasn't it? Really. So that's that one. And then the third one, kind of more of a less of a behavioural problem, more of a trait, like I would say probably a basic sort of training, is lead and recall. So I published at the beginning of this year. It's called Take the Lead for the Perfect Recall. I know, good name, I know. So yeah, and that basically talks you through everything you need to know to have a good lead and recall with your dog.
Fantastic. Wow, what a collection. Mm-hmm. Very, very good. I can't believe you've written 3, Tim. Like the last time we spoke, I think you're just releasing your first book.
Yeah, I was struggling with the first one. I massively struggled with the first one. I think because it was the first one I'd done. I couldn't get the title right. I couldn't get the image right on the front of the book. It was a nightmare. But yeah, I think once I got it, I kind of got the feel. As I was like, well, I like this. I'm going to write another one. I am actually going to be writing another one probably next year. I haven't decided on what yet. We've got a baby due at the end of this month, so I'm kind of in baby mode at the minute. So
yes, like you're like a whole new man, Tim.
Like... I know. I'm such a catch.
Well, congratulations on the book and the child.
Thank you.
Let's just bring this back a bit. So you mentioned that you left the practice to work on your own business, and you now do, is it predominantly daycare? You do all sorts of different things, but you've got a daycare
center. So we do. So I'd say the daycare is probably the big chunk. And although I love going out and doing my behaviour appointments and training and things like that, I do really enjoy being in the daycare as well. We do obviously do a lot of training with the daycare dogs. So there's a lot of daycares now, like pinging up here, there and everywhere throughout the country. We do like to say that we're very different to every other daycare, and the fact that it's not just a free-for-all, so the dogs don't just come and run around all day and burn energy off that way. We try and structure the day, so we'll take them out and do like scent adventures with them. We have a designated like scent room, so it's like a sensory room for where you would take like a baby, but this one's for dogs. So we have that. We do training with the dogs. We do lead training with them. We take them out on adventures. We've just actually, so this week we had them out to a place called Behaviour, which is an open air museum. It's all set in like the Victorian times. So it's all Victorian houses, and they have real Victorian people walking through the streets as well, too, and all the trams and things. So it was great fun. But yeah, we took the dogs there for the first time this week, and it was really good. They loved it because there's a lot of unusual smells and different things for them to see as well, too. We always try and take them to different places, and we also have different special events as well. So a couple of weeks ago, we had our superhero week at daycare, and we had some real life superheroes come and visit as well. So we had Iron Man, and we had Spider-Man, and Captain America. We had the Hulk. It was great fun. I mean, the dogs don't have a fucking clue who these people are, but they're still really fun for you. They really enjoyed it. So we do different things like that. So we had Harry Potter week a couple of months back. We do like Easter themed weeks. Back in February, we actually had Elvis himself come back from the dead and and did some Vegas style weddings and married the dogs off as well too. So it's the reason that we do these different things. Yes, I mean, the dogs don't know who Harry Potter are, the dogs don't know who superheroes are, but it keeps it fun and it keeps it varied for them as well too, so they enjoy it. And I think because we're enjoying ourselves, mostly me, then they enjoy themselves as well too. So yeah, it's really good fun. I love the daycare. Where we are looking at actually expanding over the next couple of years as well too. So I'm looking at opening a second one, and then the plan of action down the line is looking at doing some as franchising them out as well too. So yes, all plans. The baby kind of delayed things a little bit because I was wanting to have my second daycare next year, but that'll have to be knocked on the head for a little bit longer.
Put the baby first, Tim. Well, which baby? That's the thing. Which is
that's it. This is the fourth one now, and I said after one, I only wanted one.
And fourth baby, and lots of dogs by the sound of it. So how many?
Yeah.
I say lots of dogs. There's a wide variety in daycare, isn't there? And you are one of the good daycares out there that actually do stuff with the dog and prevent them from basically getting into mischief of their own and developing behavioral problems. How many dogs roughly do you have in the daycare, and how is that? So when we bring that back to engagement, how do you keep them all focused on you? Because some people struggle with one dog.
Yeah. So every dog's different as well. So it's kind of when we get the dogs in, we try and see what motivates them. So some will be motivated by toys, some will be motivated by treats. Some are just happy for you jumping up and down dressing as a superhero. That motivates them. So you find out what motivates them, and then you use that. You use that to your advantage as well. So at Daycare, on average, we have about 18 dogs a day, which is a lot of dogs really to have in one area. Don't get me wrong, we don't have them all out together. We structure the day, so we have some of them going out on adventures, some of them are in the arena, some are in the sense space, some are down for naps. So it's all very structured in that respect. We do a lot of whistle training with the dogs as well too. So in particular, when we're out on the adventures, it just makes life a little bit easier for us. We always make sure we're equipped with high value treats as well too. And the main thing is we keep it fun. By keeping it fun, you're encouraging the dog to want to be focused and motivated on you as well too.
Yeah, I love it. And you picked up on some beautiful things there. Using this motivation, so hang on, I've got so many questions for you, Tim. If you were inside my brain now, you'd be like, whoa. Let's start with, what does engagement mean to you? And then I'll ask my other questions.
All right, okay. Because you do realize it's a Friday. Don't give us too many hard questions.
Yeah. That's why my brain's a mess. I'm like, which one am I going to choose?
Right, so engagement. So engaging with your dog doesn't necessarily just mean giving them a cuddle and things like that. Dogs are far happier if you're actually doing some training with them, if they're actually learning as well. Dogs love to please. They love to please. And the more opportunities you give them to please, the happier they are as well. So it depends how technical you want us to go as well. So when a dog's learning, when a dog gets rewarded for doing something, they have something called dopamine that's released in the brain. And basically, that motivates them to want to do that again as well too, because it's a good feeling. It makes them feel really, really good. Okay, so that's what makes them motivated to go and do it again.
It's like us, really, isn't it? It's, if we do something, if we do an activity that we enjoy, and we get that hit from doing that activity, we're going to want to do it again at some point.
Well, an example. So I last year, during the lockdown, me and my son really got into Cobra Kai series, which if you're a fan of the Karate Kid, I would definitely recommend it. It's great. So anyway, we really got into that. And afterwards, he was like, I'd love to do karate. And I was like, when I was younger, I always wanted to do karate. Never did it. And we found some local classes. And we've been going now for nearly a year, and we absolutely love it. But I'm always motivated to go back, because being mammals, we're exactly the same. If you get a good feeling from something, it encourages you to want to go back. It encourages you to try harder as well too, and to keep practicing and trying harder. So yeah, that's kind of similar with how it works with dogs as well too.
Yeah, 100%. And we want the owner to be the hit of dopamine to the dog, don't we? Because I think unintentionally, because there is a massive divide between human and canine, humans can quite quickly get frustrated with the dog, can't they? I mean, I have many times over the years. I'm sure I don't need to name his name.
Yeah, absolutely. I have too. Yes, it's so. I think it's very difficult because you've got that communication barrier as well too. So although we kind of know what we want the dog to do, the dog doesn't have a clue what we want them to do, because they don't speak English, they don't speak French, they don't speak any language, they speak dog. So yeah, it's really difficult, I guess, from their point of view as well. I do totally understand why owners get frustrated as well too. Like when I speak to owners and like, oh, I always get frustrated, I know it's really bad. I'm like, whoa, I've been there. I completely get it. I was like, I totally understand, but this is why we don't do it. This is what we're going to do to make sure that you get the best out of your dog as well too.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. When we talk about the benefits and that, and bringing this communication, actually, you mentioned earlier about a scent room. Now, for those who follow me, you'll know I absolutely wet my knickers over any sort of scent work. Do you want to explain to people how that benefits the dog and the human?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when it comes to the scent space, any form of scent work is a great confidence builder. It's a great way to build up confidence, great way to build up trust. Especially if you've got nervous dogs. So I work with a lot of behavioral dogs, so dogs that have got behavioral issues, I should say. So anxious dogs and nervous dogs, and we always implement scent work because it's a great way just to keep them focused. I find from an owner's point of view as well, so within the daycare as well, we have different memberships as well too. So we've got a membership scheme and there's different levels, and certain levels the owners can actually, outside of daycare, bring the dog in and make use of the scent space as well on days that the dogs aren't in daycare. And the owners love it as well because I think from an owner's point of view, it's like having a child. It's lovely watching your child do something that they really enjoy doing. And I think it's the same with the dogs as well. It's lovely watching them doing something that they enjoy, as opposed to them doing something that they enjoy that we don't enjoy watching, if that makes sense. So by engaging in activities that they enjoy and that we enjoy watching, so it's going to encourage them to keep doing it. Whereas I'm trying to get my words out here, I'm trying to think how I want to explain it. So if you think of there's certain activities that a dog would want to do that we wouldn't want them to do, if that makes sense, such as running up to other dogs when they're off lead, or just not listening when they're off lead. Whereas when you've got things such as scent work, brain games and things like that, it's keeping the dog more motivated on you. Has that come across the way I was trying to say it?
You've kept out the jargon. It made perfect sense to me. And yeah, I'm nodding my head.
That's fine. That's all right then.
Described it beautifully, Tim.
Thank you.
When I posted a couple of videos. I mentioned TikTok a couple of times now, but it's kind of big at the minute, isn't it? And we posted a couple of videos with dogs doing like easy scent work, finding games and stuff. And a couple of the comments that came back on that was like, oh, I was always told to never teach my dog to sniff on the floor because they'll ignore me. What are your views on that sort of thing? Because yeah, my face is exactly the same.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of the time when it comes to any form of dog training these days, it's all about educating the owners and the benefits. And yeah, okay, I mean, scent work it's a fairly new thing, isn't it? It's not, yes, dogs have been smelling things for years, but I think the benefits and the evidence that's available now to show how much benefit that scent work has for dogs is far more than it was, say, 10 years, 20 years ago, okay? Scent works a massive boost it gives a dog a massive boost as well. And I think because that's one of their main senses as well, it helps release a lot of things, like a lot of chemicals and happy hormones in the brain as well too. So really it's something that we should encourage. I mean, you always see dogs having a sniff on walks and owners yanking them away, and I'm like, oh, no, just leave them, let them sniff. They need a sniff. It's an important part of them. And I guess to them, sniffing it's a way of communicating as well. It's a way of understanding what's being in the environment, how safe the environment is. And then it's something they enjoy doing. It's like someone saying to me, Tim, you can't eat chocolate anymore. I know what I would do. I tell them where to go. But that's something that I enjoy, and I wouldn't want someone taking away something that I really enjoy away from me.
Yeah, well, you'd lose trust in that person, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. And scent work's just, I love it. It's one of them things that I love to watch as well. And I love training new dog scent work as well, because when you speak to an owner and you start talking about the benefits of scent work, you can see like the cogs are going in their head thinking, he's talking a load of shit. This isn't going to make any difference whatsoever. But then when you start actually doing it with the dog and they start to say, oh, actually, this is really good. The dog's picking this up really, really well. And they start to see the changes in the dog as well too. And the good thing about scent work is it's a massive form of mental stimulation as well too. So it's a great way to tire your dog out. Someone once said to me, and I don't know how true this is, I've not got any evidence to back this statement. I read it online, so online it may not be true. But someone said whenever you engage in any form of scent work, like a 10-minute training session when the scent work involved is kind of equivalent to a 45-minute on-lead walk, because it tires you out a hell of a lot more to use up here than it does to use your physical energy. So if me and Claire was to say, let's go for a run now, we could do a mile or two and then maybe be like dead in the gutter. But we could come back, put our feet up and go and do that same run a couple of hours later. But if we were to say open a textbook and actually physically have to think about what we're reading, give ourselves half an hour, that book's going to be shut. I'm going to be ready for bed, because it tires you out more to use up here than it does to use your physical energy. And dogs are exactly the same, but the two need to work hand in hand together as well. So dogs need daily exercise, but dogs equally also need mental stimulation as well. Scent work is such a simple way to offer your dog mental stimulation, because if you just allow them to sniff, then they're getting some form of scent work. They're engaging their brain. That's mental stimulation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I've not seen any research for the actual times either, but you can see it in the dogs, can't you? You can see it for me, when we take dogs out, they're having a great time. They can be sniffing, but it's active, isn't it? It's active work, and it makes you fitter. But yeah, brain games. It's like me on my accounts every week.
Yeah, pretty much. Me too. But the thing, I think as well though, the thing is, like, there's a lot of obviously we've got a lot of these crossbreed dogs now as well too. So, but they're all, most of these crossbreeds are crossed with from work and stock as well too. So your likes of your cockapoos or your labradoodles, they've all got working breeds within them, and I think it's important from that breed's point of view that they're getting opportunities to display these natural instinctual behaviors that they've got as well. So especially your likes of any form of spaniel and things like that, they love to sniff. They love to. I always say a happy spaniel, nose down, bum up. If it's the opposite way, then there's something going wrong. So they should always have the nose down. That's them happy. That's them engaging in their natural instinctual behavior. And I think the more dogs that get the opportunities to use scent work, the happier and calmer they're going to be as well too.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, absolutely. It's the only way I can control all four of mine. I'm like, right, let's go sniffing. I'm kidding. Okay, I want to come back to Tim. The dogs that you work with. Let's say you bring a new dog in, and you bring that dog in to work with on wherever basis. How does it feel when you gain that animal's trust and connection? Is the question. I thought there was more, but that's it. How does it feel to you?
I would say it's always a reward. It's always a reward. So I'd say if we look at the behaviour side to begin with, when I first meet a dog that's got issues, shall we say, a nervous dog, an anxious dog, 9 times out of 10, I'll go into the house and the dog's kind of ready to eat us, shall we say. But once you work with that dog and build up some trust, it's lovely when they first come round for a cuddle, or they'll first come in and give you and show you a happy sign of body language, like maybe a happy wag of the tail or something like that. It's lovely as well. And I think it's reassuring to the owners as well too, to be like, well, if you can get the trust from a dog, why can't someone else get the trust from the dog as well? And it's the same with daycare as well. So with the daycare, obviously, I mean, the dogs that we have in daycare are obviously a lot different to the dogs that go out and do a behaviour assessment on. But they're still coming to a new environment. They've still got to build trust with the staff. They've got to build trust with the other dogs in there as well. It's a big thing for daycare. And daycare is not for every dog. That's why we run assessments as well too, because daycare is not for every dog. Some dogs will absolutely thrive on it, but other dogs, if you try and put them in a situation like that, it's going to freak. They're going to freak out, and you can actually encourage behavioural problems as well. That's one of the reasons why I'm not a massive fan of these daycares that just do have free-for-alls, because I think it teaches a lot of bad and unwanted behaviours as well too. I get a lot of calls from people that have had their dogs to other daycares that have been free-for-alls, and then their dogs develop dog-to-dog aggression because it's had a negative association or something's happened at daycare. The owner never seems to know 100% either what has happened, because the daycare haven't told them the full ins and outs as well. And unfortunately, that happens all over the country. There's so many daycare nows, and I think it was kind of like at the beginning when dog walking first came in, when that first was offered as a service. A lot of people jumped on it thinking, oh, wow, this is an easy way to make money. Yeah, I'll take a dog for a walk, champion, I'll get paid for that. It's not until people start doing it that they realize it's actually quite a difficult job, like trying to keep that dog's focus on you. And that's just one dog as well. I mean, when we go out on adventures, sometimes depends how many members of staff we've got with us, but we can have up to 6 dogs outside with us. That's a lot of dogs to try and control outside when there's a hell of a lot of other distractions around as well. which is why, and that takes us back to your question, it's nice to be able to have that trust, because when you've got that trust, you have the confidence in the dog, the dog has the confidence in you, and that's what encourages the dog to come back to you as well too, when we're out and about, when we're on our adventures. Because in all fairness, from the dog's point of view, and I really totally don't want to jinx this, so I'll touch anything wood I can, but the dog quite easily run away. The dog could quite easily run away, and then I'd have to have an awkward conversation with the owner. Yeah, unfortunately, so-and-so's gone missing today. Like I say, touch wood, that's never ever happened, and hopefully it never will. But that's because we are really passionate about building up that trust from an early stage of bringing the dog into daycare. We need to make sure that we have that trust level as well too. And I think because we do all the training on a regular basis, and they get a good few training sessions a day, we'll take them out for walks as well, not the adventures, so just like a little toilet break walks throughout the day. We've got the sense space as well. We do brain games with them, and it's all about just building up that trust on both sides as well too. So I think you've got to have trust on going either way as well too. And I'd say that's the same with an owner and their dog as well. The owner really has to have trust in their dog. The dog has to have trust in the owner as well.
I love all of this, and I can already like feel and probably see some people listening or watching to this and going, what, for taking 6 dogs out, I can barely manage my own. Like, when it comes to building trust, how quickly can you do that on an average? I know they're all different, but like,
it depends on the dog. But I would say, as long as with anything, is if you keep it positive and if you keep it fun, the dog's going to want to engage with you. If you're fun, the dog's going to be interested in what you're doing. And again, that'll take us back to the superheroes and the Harry Potter. You may not have realized, but unfortunately it wasn't actually the real superheroes. It was just me dressed up. But the dogs loved it because it was just another way of us having fun with one another as well too. So at Daycare, we've won the best daycare award for the last 4 years in a row. Thank you. So we've won the best daycare award for the last 4 years, and I don't know where I was going with that, actually. But yeah, that's it. The reason what we were talking about. I can't even remember what I was talking about. So yeah, we've won awards, but I'd say that's probably because we're different as well too, and we make it fun. We make it engaging for the dog as well too, and that's the important thing. It's got to be fun for the dog. If whenever it comes to training, behavior, an anxious dog, you've got to make things fun. By making things fun, they're going to want to engage more with you as well. If you kind of lose your temper when the dog's not doing what you want them to do, if you hit the dog, scream at the dog, you're not going to get anywhere with them. Trust us. There's times that I really, really feel like I need to scream at a dog, but I know that I'm not going to get anywhere with it. In order to get that trust, I need to really, really work with that dog, and I need to find out, again, to repeat what I've said, I need to find out what motivates the dog as well. By motivating the dog, that's encouraging them to want to work with you as well too. So you've got certain dogs that just absolutely love toys, so use that. You've got dogs that absolutely will do anything for a little bit of hot dog, so use that. You've got dogs that'll just happily do anything if they're going to get a stroke. Use that. Verbal praise can equally just be as good as well too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love all of that, and it's worth repeating this as well, because it can very easily, the way our mind works as well, is we can very easily get drawn to all of the bad stuff, all of the negative stuff that a dog does. But when we really look a little bit closer, it's like, actually, they've been looking at me for the last 5 minutes waiting to do something, and I've not been there. If they're very present animals, aren't they, dogs?
Yeah. Well, so when I'm working with owners as well too, I'll always say for them to do a progress diary. So I'm like, it doesn't need to be like a dear diary that you keep locked away and hid under the bed or anything like that, but just something that you keep pinned to the fridge, Monday to Sunday. What have you done with the dog today? What success did you have with it? How long did it take? Blah, blah, blah. So just a little progress diary of what they've been practicing with the dog. And the reason I do that is it's kind of like, you can get like these positivity jars where you put positive thoughts in and things like that, but it's kind of just so they can look back and think, do you know what, actually, if I look at this, and this, the dog's doing really, really well. And it's more of an encouragement way to get the owner to actually want to to get the owner to focus on the positives rather than focusing on the negatives. And yes, we're human, and that's what we do. We do focus on the negatives a hell of a lot. But I always try and encourage people to focus more on the positives, because if you focus more on the positives, it's going to make it more fun for you as well too, as an owner. And then that's going to, if you're having fun, then the dog's going to be having fun as well too.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I want to pick up on this fun element, Tim, because in my line of work, I tend to get, well, you'll probably get it as well because you work with reactive dogs. Reactive, you know what I mean? The owners can often come in a state of they're embarrassed, they've lost confidence, they're a little bit less, they're more hesitant, should I say, about going out and doing the work with the dog. So when it comes to having fun, are there any top tips that you've got for someone who's perhaps a little bit self-conscious of the outing already, and how they could perhaps, this goes for any owner really, but reactive dogs came to my mind because that's what I deal with. Anybody who suffers with self-confidence, what would be your top tip for them to start having more fun with their dog?
So I would start with indoors. So getting them to find something that they enjoy doing with their dog. A lot of the time, again, although I get the dropped face, but it's scent work's proven to be really, really popular with a lot of owners that I've worked with as well too. They absolutely love it. We do clicker training with them as well too. So we engage in fun activities indoors. I always promote something called recycle the recycling as well too. So any recycled products that are about to go in the recycling bin, can you make it into a fun brain game for your dog? If you can, great. If they destroy it, who cares? It's going in the recycling bin anyway. So by doing little things with that, I think that's a great start to work on them trust elements again as well too. Whenever we deal with reactive cases outside, again, we start the training indoors and then we build it up gradually to outdoors. We also encourage a lot of owners to do like natural agility outside with the dog as well too. So, just getting them jumping up and down on rocks or over fallen trees, or getting them to balance on like trees that have fell over. Just little fun activities like that, or getting them to weave in and out if you've got trees close together, or the little bike racks that you attach your bikes to, getting them to weave in and out of there when there's no bikes around. Again, it keeps it fun. But by doing that, it's keeping the dog motivated as well too, and it's making the dog's walks more fun. So when you've got if we look at reactive dogs, when you've got a reactive dog, obviously they pick up very quickly on areas in the environment where let's say it's a reactive dog towards other dogs. They pick up in the environment where other dogs have been in the past, so they already have a negative association with that area. If you want to try and change the dog's perception and implement a desensitization program, you've got to kind of change it round so that the environment's more of a positive again as well too. So if you start having fun indoors, you can then start taking your fun outdoors as well. And again, scent work again is a great little thing. So with autumn coming as well, although I love the summer, I like the heat. I do love autumn for the dogs because you've got all the leaves on the floor as well too, and that's a great little game to play with the dogs. Certainly something once they start dropping off the trees, I'll be going gathering them and taking them into the scent space as well too at work, because it's a really simple little game, something that you can play. You could just get a load and shove them in a box as well and hide some treats and just encourage the dogs to rummage through them at home. Again, recycle the recycling. You've got an empty cardboard box, you've ordered something from Amazon that's like this big and it comes in a box this big, but you can make use of that. Shove some leaves in, some toilet roll tubes, anything that's going to encourage the dog to rummage through, and then you can do that outside as well with leaves on the floor.
Fantastic. I love how you've described the kind of the ways of fun as well, because I think certainly in a few of the things that I've seen, it's like, have more fun with your dog. And then like sometimes the owner can start jumping around and trying to have fun themselves, which is great. But we have to look at it from the dog's angle, doesn't it?
That's it. I mean, if it was me, I'd be like dancing to the dogs all day long. So
shall we get up and do our TikTok dance?
Well, I'm not very good with the TikTok dances, it's that one. I tell you what, them songs are just instilled in my brain from the first lockdown, really. So
Yeah, I was probably massively behind the times there, but that's the only one I could think of.
Yeah, no, I think that came out during the first lockdown. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine.
yeah. To be honest, some of the new dancers on there, I wouldn't be able to choreograph.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. So yeah, look at having fun from the dog's perspective, because sometimes, like, whilst jumping around and having a great time can work for some dogs, if you've got a nervous, anxious, or even an easily aroused dog, it can be too much for them, can't it?
Yeah, I've got a really good example as well too about having fun with your dog. So when we had the first lockdown, obviously no one really knew what was happening, what was going on, and everyone at that stage, I would say at the first lockdown, was pretty much following the rules, like stay at home, have your one bit of exercise a day, and that's it. I've got, well, at the time I had one whippet, I've got two whippets now, and he's so used to a very active life. So his routine throughout the days, I would get up in the morning, take him out for a run. Then he goes to daycare, goes in the sense space when he's at daycare. He comes out on all the adventures with us as well too. So he's constantly active all the time. He gets the training sessions at work. And then when we finish work, depending on how tired he is, he might go for a little stroll as well again. He's always been a very, very active dog. He likes being out and about. I'm always out and about, so he kind of, I always say owners kind of take after the dogs as well too. So he's very active like me as well too. So when it was announced that you're only allowed one bit of exercise, I thought, shit, this is never going to be enough for him. He's going to be literally climbing the walls. This is just, we've recently moved as well, so we were in a much smaller house as well too, and I was like, there's just going to be nothing for him to do. It's going to be terrible. So I went to work, I picked up all the brain games that I had, but I then actually started doing some dancing with him, not because there was any real purpose moving forward with us doing it. I just thought, you know what, it's going to be fun for me, fun for him. We actually had so some of the daycare dogs as well. We've got like a little private Facebook page, and they all wanted to get involved with it as well too. And I was like, well, I'll do it with you. So I was like, you do it with your dogs, and I'll do it with my dogs, with Buddy as well. And I kid you not, he seemed more tired on a night time just by doing a few of these different sessions. And I mean, Whippets aren't known to be the most intelligent breed of dog, let's be honest. But I mean, he's lovely, don't get us wrong. But I had him by the end of it. He was jumping over my back. He was weaving in and out with my legs. He was jumping through. When I put my arms like that, he would jump through the hoops. He was doing paws up. And he absolutely just loved it. He thrived on it. And I loved it as well, too. And then the kids were wanting to get involved, which was good. So it was kind of like just keeping everyone fun and activated together. We had the kids, like we were doing some agility with the kids, so getting the dog to jump, or getting Buddy to jump over the kids when they were lying down. They would go like in crab, or whatever the position's called, crab shapes, and the dog was crawling underneath them. It's just fun little things that you can do, but it's not just fun for the dog, it's kind of fun for you as well too. So I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm looking at actually doing another challenge with my daycare dogs at the beginning of next year, which is going to involve the dancing with dogs again. I think it's just a nice little activity, but it's really quite simple as well too. So it's simple, but it's fun. Again, going back to what we talked about the motivational learning aspect and the dopamine that's released in the brain, that's great. That's going to encourage the dog to feel good. And when a dog feels good, that helps build confidence. When a dog's got confidence, that builds trust as well. So it's going to, if you can start with something like that indoors, then you can start to take it outdoors as well too.
Yeah, and it all ties.
There, sorry.
No, you carry on. I'd love to see a clip of your dancing, actually. We might post that up for the people. No, that's brilliant. I think, yeah, everything that you've mentioned as well, it's like it's all drawn towards the focus of keeping the dog focused. So there's like multiple different things that we can use, isn't there? We've spoken a lot about scent work, but then you've looked at like the natural agility and the dancing, and the thing that dog goes, oh my God, is the thing that's going to get dog and owner better connected, which is what we're all about, and building on boosting their engagement together. So
absolutely, and it's you've just got to find what motivates your dog as well too. I was working with So I was running a puppy class there, an outdoors one, a couple of months back. This was before we were allowed the indoor classes, and we were doing a recall lesson. I had the long line, but there was this one owner, the dog just wasn't listening to a word she was saying. She had all of the nice high value treats. She had the dog's favorite toy. The dog just couldn't give her monkeys. And you could see she was getting more and more frustrated. Yes, the dog was on a long line, so it wasn't going anywhere, but she was getting more and more frustrated. Eventually, I came across something on the floor and I was like, it was just a feather. I was like, wiggle this feather around, see how motivated the dog gets. And sure enough, the dog was like, wow, what you got? That's the best thing ever. And sure enough, all she had to do moving forward was carry a feather around with her. And the dog was totally motivated on her. So that's what I mean by I say, find what motivates your dog, because everything and everyone is different. So what motivates me will be completely different to what motivates Claire. You've got to find what motivates your dog. By finding something that motivates your dog, you then use that and engage it when it comes to training as well.
I love that. Yeah, it's very easy to grab the treats and go for the toys, isn't it? And or think that the dog enjoys the cuddles. But so many other things that we can use, isn't there?
Yeah,
I love that.
The natural environment's just got so many options as well too. So many things that you can just pick up and wear around and see what happens. If the dog's not interested, okay, that's fine. It can go back to the natural environment.
Yeah, absolutely. We keep trying, and it's about getting creative, isn't it, for sure?
And I think when owners find that thing that motivates them, like I just remember seeing this owner. This is just a recent one that come to mind. The owner with a feather and the dog. She was like, got her attention. Like, I've been practicing for ages trying to get her attention. She doesn't listen outside of puppy class to anyone, and you've literally got her attention focused on you within a few moments. So I was like, it's not me, it's the feather, the magic feather.
Yeah, you've listened to the dog, haven't you? You've listened and you've tested and you've trialed. So talking about motivation, Tim, we've talked a lot about the dogs. What motivates you to work hard with the dogs?
I like the outcome. I love the outcome. And I guess I'm a bit of a show off as well too. So when it came to doing it might surprise you, that one. When it came to the dancing with Buddy, I felt like I had to prove myself as well too. So and a lot of the owners were dying to see the video that me and Buddy had put together. They would go away and choose a song for us, and then they'd say, right, Tim, here's your song. This is what you and Buddy have to dance to. So I was dancing to Aqua, I was dancing to Robbie Williams. I can't remember. I think I did High School Musical at one point as well too. And so, but it was great fun, and it really motivated me seeing him having fun as well too, and actually engaging. So like, although I say Whippets aren't the most intelligent breed of dog, I would say he can do a hell of a lot to what, say, a Labrador would do as well too. I would say he completely proved me wrong. He proved me wrong, and it was lovely working with him as well too. And we still do little routines now. Like we definitely don't do it as advanced as we did last year. But he still knows everything because he's had that motivation. He's learned, if I do this, something good's going to come. I'm going to get loads of praise. I'm going to get rewarded, and so it motivates him to keep going forward as well too. And I think with me, my motivation is seeing the enjoyment from a dog as well too, seeing them enjoy themselves. I love nothing more than seeing them enjoy themselves, and that's probably a very cliche thing to say, but I do really, really love enjoying seeing dogs progress and learn, because that's what they love to do as well too. And I think, unfortunately, these days owners don't necessarily see that. Owners think, I'm going to get a dog because on a night time I wanted to cuddle up nicely. It was on the settee. I don't think they realise all the things that need to go in the middle of the day as well too. And I think, unfortunately, especially with the influx of puppies that was sold last year as well too. I was speaking to someone that runs one of the local cat and dog shelters near where I work, and she said last year, I can't remember the exact figure, but I think it was the most ever sold puppies in a year. And then this year, she said that they've now been they've had more puppies come through the door that owners have obviously wanted to rehome as well too. So I think people's expectations on what they want from a dog versus reality isn't quite right.
Yeah, and most of the reasons, I might go on a massive limb here, but most of the reasons that people kind of get to the point where they can't give the dog up because they've got no connection, they've got no engagement.
Exactly, yeah. They haven't found how to have fun with their dog. They've focused on the negatives. Oh, my dog's chewing this, or my dog's jumping up at everyone, it's peeing all over the rug. They don't look at it and think, why is the dog doing that? And yeah, that's our job, that's what we do. But it's so frustrating when you see owners that are at the end of the tether are rehoming the dogs because they haven't looked at the why element. They haven't looked at why the dog's doing that. If they look at the why and think, well, you know what, actually he only gets 10 minutes walk around the block a day, do you think maybe he could just be bored? He's not really getting any engagement with his toys. We don't really do anything with him because we're constantly telling him off or shoving him in his crate for being naughty. I just wish people would look more at why the dog's doing something and think dog as well. Think of it from the dog's point of view. And it's so easy to think of it from a human's point of view, but they are not humans. They are not mini humans. They are not babies. I would never say you can't love your dog. Of course you can love your dog, but there's far better ways to love your dog than sitting and cuddling them on a night time. By engaging with, training with them, by doing some playing with them, by dancing with your dog, anything like that, that's going to motivate them. That's what's going to keep them happy, and that's what's going to discourage these unwanted behaviors. Because if you're burning energy off your dog in a more positive way, they're not going to have the energy to want to go and chew the rug or do the things that you would class as unwanted behaviors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely agree. And I love it. I love everything that we've spoken about today, Tim. It's been like, there's loads of golden nuggets in here for people. And if you can't find something in any of these topics, especially this one, to go and have a go with your dog, and build on that engagement and get yourselves better connected, guys. Fantastic, Tim. I think we'll leave it there. So
no bother.
Where is the best place for people to go and find out more about you and your beautiful dancing and everything that you do?
So if you visit our website, which is www.petstoimpress.com, you can also download a free training guide. It is a basic guide. It's more aimed at puppy owners, but anyone can do it. If you're struggling with anything, download it. There might be some tips on there for you. You can also purchase any one of my books from there as well too. So if you've got a dog that's reactive towards other dogs outside, I would certainly recommend, I may be biased, I would certainly recommend Help My Dog is the Devil with Other Dogs. If your dog struggles being left alone, then you've got that one as well to Help My Dog Doesn't Like Being Left Alone. Or if you struggle with lead and recall, and that's one of the biggies as well, because that's something that you need to do on a daily basis. You need to be getting your dog out for a walk every single day. Walk should be fun for you as well, not just for the dog. If it's fun for you, again, going back to quickly, I don't want to repeat myself. I know Claire wants to tie it up now, but if you're having fun with your dog out on a walk, it's going to encourage your dog to want to come back to you as well too. So you can purchase that book on there as well too. And then if anyone's got any questions, they can send us a message on email via the website as well too. And before Claire says it, I will say I know that I've been the best person she's interviewed so far. So
Absolutely.
And this is where Claire says, actually, you're first.
Like, you just read through my mind there, and
I knew it.
We've laughed, we've loved it, and we've learned a hell of a lot on this interview. So thank you so much, Tim. Don't forget to go and check out Tim's website, everybody. Is there anything else you want to add before I actually say goodbye, or?
No, just keep up the good work. I think these little interviews that you're doing is good, because I think it'll give owners a good mixed variety of different things that they can pick out of things as well too. The only thing I would say with regards to any owner is don't give up. There's always a solution. There's always a solution to every single problem that you've got. You've just got to try and target that solution. And if you struggle, then you need to get in touch with the likes of someone like me, someone like Claire, someone in your local area that is qualified to do this as well too. Don't go just to the local the local hillbilly that's been doing it for 50 years. Try and stick with someone that actually is up to date with methods that they use as well too. But yeah, don't ever give up. There's so many dogs in shelter because people have sadly give up. I understand people do try everything they can, but there's always an answer. So you may have felt like you've tried everything. You may have scrolled through the internet, read every single book. Unfortunately, when you do that, you're going to get a lot of conflicting information as well too. If you go on one website and then look on another, you're going to get something. If you read one book and then read another, you're going to get something. And what happens is owners kind of get their own little version. And unfortunately, their own little version doesn't help either. So you're always best to try and seek the advice from a professional. Just think of it this way. If your tooth fell out, you're not going to go and see a mechanic. You're going to go and see a dentist. If your car broke down, you're not going to go to the dentist, etc., etc. You want to find the professionals that can help you with the problem that you're facing as well too. And there's always people available as well to help. So there we go. That's what I would say.
Perfect little ending. And on the topic of dentists, I'm really going to have to shoot because I'm there next.
Oh, have fun. I don't envy you that one.
No, neither do I. I'd much rather stay in interviews. But Tim, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
You're very welcome.
And for the listeners, we will look forward to seeing you on the next call. Bye for now.